He said he was too old, too tired. His body couldn't take it anymore. Ncuti Gatwa, just 31 years old, says he had to leave Doctor Who because of physical exhaustion. And yet, he's now performing in ballet, one of the most physically demanding art forms in existence. So what's going on? Why would Ncuti, a rising star beloved by fans, leave Doctor Who after just 2 seasons? Why offer a flimsy explanation, then contradict himself immediately? And why does the BBC seem so desperate to support a version of events? That doesn't make sense. This isn't just a weird PR answer. It's a pattern, a cover-up. Because Ncuti's exit doesn't just reveal cracks in his story. It exposes fault lines running through the entire franchise. This isn't about fatigue. It's about failure. And the truth is finally breaking through. It all began with an awkward interview. Ncuti Gatwa, fresh off the apparent end of his run as the 15th Doctor, sits down with BBC political journalist Laura Kuenssberg. It's supposed to be light, promotional, standard PR, but instead Ncuti delivers something unexpected. He says he's getting old, that his body was tired, that filming Doctor Who left him exhausted. The problem? He's 31. That makes him one of the youngest actors to ever play the Doctor. Only Matt Smith and Peter Davison were younger when cast. And unlike them, Ncuti is at the peak of his physical and creative prime. So why this excuse? Why this line on national television? And more importantly, why does he immediately contradict himself? Because moments later, Ncuti cheerfully announces he's starting ballet training. Full body discipline, rigorous rehearsal schedules, nightly stage performances. Harder than running through the time vortex. Unlikely. And that contradiction didn't go unnoticed. Laura Kuenssberg may be a political journalist, but even she picked up on the inconsistency. You can see it in her expression. The soft frown. The moment of pause. She doesn't push. But she doesn't buy it either. Because the math doesn't add up. Ncuti's tired body is now doing pirouettes. The question hanging in the air is obvious. Why say this? And why now? Because it's not about tired muscles. It's about protecting reputations. And keeping a very expensive show from collapsing in the public eye. Let's rewind the timeline. Just last year, Ncuti was all in on Doctor Who. Interviews with magazines and red carpet events showed him beaming with energy. He teased season 2, he hinted at season 3, he talked about plans, arcs, creative growth. This wasn't a man preparing to exit. This was a man preparing to build. In fact, several insiders claimed that season 3 was already in early development. Gatwa had blocked out his schedule. Writers had outlined key beats. Even directors were loosely attached. Then everything stalled. Suddenly, Disney didn't recommission the show. No green light. No schedule. No guarantees. Just a long, silent pause. For Ncuti, that pause had a cost. Because in waiting for a job that never came, he missed others. According to several reports, Ncuti Gatwa was offered a major perfume campaign in the US. The fee, roughly equal to a full season of Doctor Who, global ad spots, billboards, fashion prestige. But Ncuti turned it down. Because he believed he'd be filming Doctor Who season 3 during that window. He showed loyalty and got silence in return. Disney and the BBC never announced a renewal. No timelines were confirmed. Nothing was promised. Months passed, and in that limbo, the truth hardened. Doctor Who couldn't afford him anymore. This isn't a story of arrogance. It's a story of value. Since his breakout in sex education, Ncuti has been on a sharp upward trajectory. Fashion campaigns, magazine covers, stage productions, Hollywood circling. For a while, Doctor Who felt like his next great leap. But the industry has changed. Streaming delays, budget cuts, brand hesitancy. And Disney's grip on the show has made everything slower. No fast renewals, no clear seasons, no multi-year plans. And Ncuti, he wasn't waiting anymore. So he said, "I'm old, I'm tired." But what he meant was, "I'm done." We've heard this before. In 2005, Christopher Eccleston, the man who helped reboot Doctor Who for the modern era, abruptly left after 1 season. The BBC claimed he was exhausted, that the shoot was hard, that he needed rest. Sound familiar? Later, the truth came out: creative clashes, lack of support, toxic work culture. Eccleston wasn't tired. He was burned. Now Ncuti, in eerily similar language, says he's leaving because of physical strain. But if Ballad is easier than Doctor Who, then the problem isn't his body. It's the show, and everything surrounding it. So here we are. A PR line about getting old. A contradictory ballot reveal. A growing silence around Doctor Who's next season. And fans are expected to smile and say, "Great, that makes sense." But it doesn't, because the cracks are visible. The silence from Disney, the halted scripts, the vanished opportunities. The truth is not that Ncuti Gatwa was too tired for Doctor Who. The truth is that Doctor Who was too disorganized, too delayed, and too underfunded to keep him. And now, the show scrambles for a face, a direction. While Ncuti, he's already moving on. But the damage remains, and the gold sparkle of Regeneration wasn't a transformation, it was a cover-up. This isn't just about one actor walking off a set. This is a PR operation, a damage control strategy, polished, vague, and familiar. Because when the 15th Doctor vanished, so did all signs of a plan. No press conference, no send-off featurette, no grand farewell tweet. Instead, Ncuti Gatwa appeared on a morning politics program and gave an answer that didn't hold up. "I'm getting old. My body is tired." That's not a farewell. That's a memo. A short, soft line designed to distract you from the real issue: Doctor Who isn't stable. And Ncuti was never meant to reveal that. So, like Eccleston before him, he gave the only answer allowed, an excuse that doesn't offend, doesn't expose, doesn't risk the franchise. Why tired is the safest lie. Let's be clear. Tired isn't a lie because it's untrue. It's a lie because it's convenient. Too tired to film, not a management issue. Too tired to return, not a creative clash. Too tired to stay, not Disney's fault. It places the blame on the actor's body, not the institution. And that matters, because right now, the institution is fragile. Behind the scenes, Doctor Who is in a precarious position. Ratings drop. Social media engagement dipped after Space Babies. Critical reviews turned cold. Disney hesitated on renewal. Add in Ncuti's departure, and suddenly you have headlines no studio wants. Disney drops the ball, BBC blew it again. Ncuti Gatwa walks from delayed season. So instead, they gave you this: "I was just tired." It's not meant to convince you. It's meant to calm you. There's another layer to this, and it has nothing to do with writing, acting, or fan reaction. It's about money. Because for Doctor Who to continue, it needs two things: a committed lead, a committed partner. Ncuti was ready, but Disney wasn't. The truth is, Doctor Who has not been officially recommissioned. There's no green light for season 3. No production schedule, no filming start date. Even as of now, the BBC and Disney Plus are still in talks. Why? Because Disney is hesitant. Viewership metrics didn't hit internal projections. Merchandise isn't moving, and global brand value is under review. So Ncuti, left in limbo for months, was forced to ask himself, do I wait for a job that might not return? Or do I take the opportunities already waiting for me? He chose the latter. And who wouldn't? This isn't speculation. Reports now confirm Ncuti was offered a major perfume campaign, a global brand. The salary, close to a full Doctor Who season. It was a serious offer, fashion house prestige, cross-market exposure, career elevation. But Ncuti turned it down, because he was contractually obligated to keep time clear for filming season 3. Except season 3 never came. Weeks became months. Meetings stalled. Contracts sat unsigned. And the perfume job, it vanished. Given the choice between Ballot and Limbo, Ncuti picked Ballot. Because Doctor Who wasn't paying. Not with money. Not with stability. Not with honesty. And now, he's gone. Here's the paradox the BBC doesn't want to admit. They finally cast a doctor with global star power, and they couldn't afford to keep him. Ncuti Gatwa was on the verge of becoming the most culturally relevant doctor since David Tennant. Fashion magazines, TikTok virality, award show buzz. But that kind of talent comes with risk, and risk requires commitment. Commitment Disney wouldn't give. So Ncuti left, not because he was tired, but because the show wasn't ready for what he brought. Here's where it gets worse. Instead of confronting the fallout, the BBC did what it always does when cornered. It reached for nostalgia. Billie Piper, the one name guaranteed to stir emotion, tie back to Tennant, summon the ghosts of 2005. She appeared in the finale, but not as Rose Tyler, and not quite as the Doctor. Her role undefined, her screen time ambiguous, her presence a smoke bomb. It was never about narrative, it was about distraction. So the headlines wouldn't say, Ncuti gone, franchise in limbo. Instead, they said, Billie Piper returns. But ask yourself, why announce her return without saying what role she plays? Because that's not a reveal. That's stalling. Let's take a step back. Think of the language. Old and tired. Time to move on. Excited for new adventures. Sound familiar? It's what they said about Eccleston in 2005, Jenna Coleman in 2015, Tosin Cole in 2020, Mandip Gill in 2022. Each time the story was simple, safe, painless. But the truth, never so neat. Eccleston left because of internal clashes. Coleman wanted out for years, but was pulled back by changing scripts. Mandip Gill's departure aligned with showrunner turnover chaos. Now Ncuti joins the list, and the language is recycled. Because if they admitted what really happened, you'd see the cracks. You'd realize the machine is fragile, and Doctor Who's future isn't nearly as certain as they want you to believe. So now the big question, what happens next? No confirmed Doctor, no clear direction, a vanished lead actor, and a studio too quiet. If Disney doesn't recommission the show soon, and if Billie Piper is only a placeholder, we may be looking at a gap year. Or worse, another wilderness era, a time with no show, just rumors and regrets, all because they couldn't keep the one actor who might have saved it. The real reason Ncuti Gatwa left Doctor Who isn't about age, exhaustion, or artistic closure. It's about trust, broken contracts, and a franchise too slow to commit. Because when you cast a star too big to fail, you either grow with them, or you watch them walk away.